Welcome to the Apex, everyone. I'm your host, Zell, and we're going to jump right into blog and print sharp news. From the cutting edge, we have a PSA from a lawyer down in Texas about the new Texas knife law, and it's pretty good. You'll want to go watch that one. And 20 more ways people have tried to smuggle knives onto airplanes, and the TSA caught them. And then from the Truth About Knives, we have the police expecting a Clownpocalypse with the release of Stephen King's It. The remake, I believe it comes out next weekend, and they're thinking we're going to see more of the crazy, creepy clowns standing around. If you see one of those clowns, run first, but you know what to do if that clown comes after you. Take care of yourself, folks. And over at Knife News as well, we have Knife Freedom Day in Texas. The Bowie Bill goes into effect. And Glen Tech tests the waters with the Kiba? I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it's a neat little knife. You want to go over there to see the pictures. And then the deal with Houston. The community is rallying around the knife makers down in Houston. And here's something, if you are a knife maker or you know some knife makers personally that live in the Houston area, get them on Instagram. They need to go visit Todd Knife and Tool. They need to be looking around. They need to go read this article. There are several people trying to help. We have people trying to help monetarily, with workspace, with materials, lots of different things, because guys, there are some people down there that are working out of a garage, a shack, a shop, and it's underwater. And if it's underwater, that means all their materials are underwater. It means all their machinery is underwater. And it's just, it's an awful thing, especially if that's their livelihood. So get over there and read the article. Get on the Instagrams and find, and I don't know what the hashtag is, and I apologize for that. If somebody does know the hashtag for the Texas knife makers, put it down in the comments so that people can see it, and I'll highlight your comment so that we can get these guys back on their feet, as well as the rest of Houston. There's a lot of places down there where you can donate, where you can help. It's pretty devastating. Seth lives down there, the other half of Todd Knife and Tool, and he lives in an area that was higher ground. So the way he put it is he was on an island in the middle of a wasteland. So, I haven't seen a lot of the pictures or video from down there, but if we can, let's see what can be done to help these guys out and all of Houston. Next, from Liong Ma, he brings out the Tanto Lanny. And that is a really cool grind on this knife. It's going to be somewhat limited production right now, limited to so many units in the carbon fiber and even fewer in the micarta. And Liong seems to do that. I really like the carbon fibers he chooses, so it doesn't affect me that much. But if you want the micarta ones, you're going to want to go check it out. The story is over at knifenews.com, and I believe Liong said that he would have the knives up on liongma.com a day or so ago. So you'll want to get those checked out. And then from Nick Shabazz, and I had to look this one up, we have today's knife gripe, Flip the Clip. And we didn't get last week's, and it was stale. You'll have to watch them to see what they're about. And also from Nick, we have a video of him reviewing the XM18 Spanto. And why in the world would I put a video in here about a review of an XM18? Well, it just cracks me up every time Nick reviews one of the standards, one of the old standbys. Because, well, you just have to watch it. He gets all worked up about your Shabazz. He gets all worked up about your Hinderers. And you just have to go watch it, because if you think about it like I do, it's pretty comical. Because it's just not Nick's kind of knife, and that's just a beautiful thing, really. And then we have Walter Sorrells trying to help you master the curvy grinds. And if you don't watch Walter Sorrells, you should. Walter has a great way of explaining things and getting his point across. And if you're a knife maker, you definitely should be watching Walter, because you may learn something with every one of them. You may know everything in one of the videos, but if you watch a lot of his videos, you are going to learn things. And then from Alec Steele, we have... You're just going to have to go watch it. I'm not telling you. So I tell you, you're not going to go watch it, because you're going to think, well, I'm all too high and mighty to watch that. And so I'm not even going to put the name of the video down in the description. You're just going to have to click on it, because it's freaking cool. So anyhow, Priority Survival is next up. And Priority Survival has an unboxing and getting a look at some of the Bestech knives. Bestech is another Chinese company trying to break into the upper end of the knife game, the upper end of the production game, and I think they're going to do a good job, and we'll find out, because Priority Survival should have more reviews of these knives individually in the near future. For now, he's got an unboxing and an overview of 3 or 4 of their models. Pretty cool. And then Cedrick and Ada Outdoors. Cedrick has gotten a hold of some better 440C, or what should be better 440C, and he has done another one of his edge retention tests. So I'm not going to tell you what the results are. You're going to have to go watch Cedrick's video. Really, go watch it. And then from DB Blades, we have the LDS G10 and Finished Brutes. And I put DB Blades on here because Dom is a really cool guy, and he shoots you straight. He goes through builds, he explains knives. I learned something from his videos, even whenever he's just showing off some stuff he just finished. And that is a beautiful thing. And the shooting straight, showing the mistakes, and how he corrected them, or even if he had to throw it in the trash. It's great, great video. And from there, I believe that's it. It is. Go watch DB Blades and get a look around his channel. There's some great content there. And from here, we're going to go to the winner of the RP1. All right, guys, here we go. We're going to pick the winner for the Todd Knife and Tool Made by Me RP1. That's the Wristy Paw 1. And how we're going to do this, we're going to use the Tube Buddy application for picking a winner. So there we go. We're going to click pick a winner, and Twitch gets it. And that's awesome. Twitch has been a long-time viewer of the channel, and Twitch, you need to send me a DM through YouTube, if you would, please. And that way we can exchange information and I can get that knife out to you, sir. Anyhow, on with the show. Twitch, you are the winner. All right, Twitch, get a hold of me. I'll try to send you a DM later here on YouTube, but if you get one to me sooner, that's great, and send me an email. I just need to be able to verify it's you, buddy, so that I can get that knife out to you, and also verify that you meet all the requirements. You know the drill, and we will get that knife on the way to you. My next shipping day should be Friday. Might be able to get it out a little bit earlier, but the sooner I've got your address, the sooner we can get this moving. And guys, I wasn't joking about the giveaways. I've got a whole pile of stuff back here to give away. And, well, we're going to do another giveaway today. It's somewhere in the rest of this video. Alright guys, strap in and grab a double. We're going to talk about why you should stop getting pissed off at your Torx drivers. Alright, last week I did the video where we talked about the stuff that happens on the head of the screw, the depth of the recess, how well things are cut, and I had these cobalt drivers on the desk because, well, they were the easiest ones to get to, and wow, I got one somewhat friendly comment saying that I might be insane, and I got several emails checking on my mental stability. First off, guys, I have to go, whether I want to or not, to the psychologist every couple of years, and either she is very, very scared of me, or I'm mostly sane, because I pass every time. And, well, that's all we're going to talk about with that. Let's get into what we're talking about with the drivers. There's this strange little thing that happens with these drivers. If you are trying to take apart this CRKT Amicus, I believe it is. Yes, says Amicus right there, doesn't it? And we talked about how crappy the screws are on this. You better have the best drivers you can get, because if not, you're going to end up stripping something out, because you're going to have to hold this thing in your hand. You're going to have to get a hold of that driver with plenty of force pushing those two, the screw and the driver, together, because if you don't, you're going to end up stripping that thing out. So if you go down here, and I'm not going to stick this cobalt driver in there, but you could easily strip out that cobalt driver in this really crappy screw. Not a problem. However, if you are using a knife, or taking apart a knife, I should say, that has good screws in it, like this rake does, well, there we go, there's T6. I have no problem just setting it in there. No pressure, just letting the driver do what it's supposed to do. And there you go, and that is what it's all about. We don't need to get a lot deeper than that. If you're taking apart inexpensive knives, or any knife, and some expensive ones have bad screws too, any knife with bad screws, and you are attempting to take it apart, the crappier the screw, the better driver you need. On the other hand, the better the screw is, the less you need to be worried about the quality of the driver. This rake here, I would take it apart even with your Walmart drivers or the freebie. In fact, I'd stick that freebie in there if it didn't have a T10 from a project I'm working on. If I had thought to bring a T6 down here with me, or a T8, but I failed you, I'm sorry. And let's talk about the drivers themselves real quick. How do they stack up in actual quality? Well, first you have your freebies, your Walmarts, your Harbor Freights, and that kind of stuff. And these drivers are not great, but they're not super awful either. They will get you by as long as the knife has good screws. You know, your Cobalts, your Huskies, your Ace Hardware, Menards, etc. drivers are a step above that most of the time. In fact, some of the Husky stuff is actually, the drivers themselves are quite good. Sometimes the handles are really cheap and crappy, but the drivers seem to be well hardened and well cut. I've got some Husky bits that I use regularly that have stood up well, where the handles have just split out. And that's something that you run into. But, so, your lumberyard home improvement store drivers are right under your Weehaw stuff. And I know a lot of people love, and they would swear by Weehaw. And don't get me wrong, I use Weehaw stuff. But whenever we get down to the little bitty ones, the T8s, the T6s, and such forth, Weehaw lasts well, but not real well. And, I could get the smaller drivers or the bits, but I like these like this, and these things are between 10 and 20 bucks a piece, depending on where you find them, if I remember right. So on the T6s and the T8s, I'd spend a lot of money replacing these, because I do have some issues with them. Now, the top of the heap, as far as I'm concerned, is right here. Bond Hus. These things I have used, I bought a set of them about 1.5 years ago, and I have used them since. And I think I have finally stripped out the T6. I must have. I ordered some new T6s yesterday. And these things, I say, they're just great. They're well hardened, they do their job, and you can get them in flags or tees, and you can also get Bond Hus drivers of various sorts, but I like these little ones because if you're using them right, it limits the amount of torque that you can put on some of those small screws without really working at it. So that's my opinion. If you're going to be taking knives apart regularly, get you some of these little Bond Hus drivers. You can get a set of them on eBay for 20-25 bucks. They come in a little thing that looks like this. T6 up to T20. And I know you don't need the big ones, but problem is, individually, these things are $3 to $5 a piece, so you might as well get the set. And guys, that kind of wraps it up. If you're taking apart knives, budget knives, or knives with bad screws, get the best driver you can. If you're taking apart knives that have got really good screws in them, well, that takes a little load off the driver. And you can get away with, if you want to say it that way, or just use just about anything out there. And you're going to be fine. The top of that screw is the most important part of the whole thing when it comes to the interface with the driver. The drivers are fairly well standardized. The screws are not. They go from cheap and crappy to super expensive and perfect. And, you know, no joke, some of those titanium screws that some places are using are close to $1 a piece. So, there you go. Well, earlier we talked about who won the contest from last week. And Twitch won that one, that lucky dude. And this week, we're going to give away a couple of these. Now, these are not expensive lights. They are simple on-off lights, 2 AAA battery. They're Hugsby XP2s. And, you know, sometimes you can get them as cheap as $5 a piece. Sometimes they run up to about $10 a piece. But here's what I've learned about them. And I have used the 2 AAA and the single AAA fairly exclusively for certain things that I do, and these are just rock solid little lights, and I have 2 of them in the box right there, and you guys know the deal. But this week you're gonna put Hugsby before anything else that you might say. That's HUGSBY before anything else that you might want to comment. And next week, we'll do 2 draws for these 2 brand new in-the-box Hugsby lights. And you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.